This is question 18 on chemistry from section 2 of the 2020 BMAT. So we're given a picture of propene, which is an alkene, and we're asked to give the structural formula of the polymer that results from polymerization of this propene. So how do we go about this? Well, when we have alkenes polymerizing, we need to think about which part of the molecule actually reacts and forms the new bonds. So which part is that? We know the most reactive part of an alkene is the CC double bond, and this is the bit that reacts and forms new bonds to itself, so more molecules of propene, to eventually form this polymer. And so let's do a quick sketch of that happening. So if we have a generic polymer molecule reacting with this propene, and so we can consider this as just the chain extending rather than drawing out the whole polymer. If this is attacking one end of the double bond, then what has to happen? This bond has to break and form a new bond to something else. Let's call this P as well, to represent the polymer that's forming from this reaction. So what would the product of this look like? So if we've connected P to this carbon, and this carbon has connected to another P, then we start with this subunit. So we've still got our methyl and our hydrogen, and this P now connected to the carbon. We then have a bond to this CH2 unit, but of course, because the double bond was broken, this is now a single bond. And then finally, this carbon is connected to P, so the rest of the polymer. So this is what's happened chemistry-wise. So we've broken this double bond to form two new bonds to include this molecule in the polymer. So how do we formally represent this as a repeating polymer unit? So we consider this rest of the polymer as just being a trailing bond through a square bracket. And so that is connected to a carbon, which has a methyl group and a hydrogen, like so. And so this trailing bond just represents the rest of the molecule that will repeat. And then on the other side of this carbon, we have this CH2 unit, like so. And this is connected to the rest of the polymer chain, which again represents with a trailing bond through a closed bracket. So let's do a quick reality check. What do we need to check about this repeating unit to make sure it is correct? Well, because we've not lost or made any new atoms, we need to have the same number of carbons and hydrogens in this repeating unit as we had in the starting alkene. So do we have 3 carbons? Yes, we do. We have the 2 on the chain and this extra methyl group sticking off. And do we have the 6 hydrogens that we started with? Yes, we do. We have 3 in the methyl and 3 connected to the polymer chain. So we know that if this repeats, then we simply have lots of propenes connected together, and that's happened because this double bond has broken to form a new bond each side. So we can be confident in saying that this repeating unit is our final answer. This should have a little n next to it, by the way. And that corresponds to an answer of D.